Good morning, guys, of grade 9. Today, inshallah, we're gonna post two new chapter with the chapter 20. We keep talking about ecology. So, actually, in chapter 18, we start talking about ecology, which is a study of environment. And we said actually it's hard to study the entire biosphere once. So, we divide it into levels of organization, starting from living organisms, then population, then and community, ecosystem, biomes, and in the biosphere. So during chapter 18, we studied the population and the interaction between living organisms, and then we passed in chapter 19 talk about the cycles of matter, which means we somehow studied the biotic and the abiotic factors in an ecosystem. Now we need to pass to the larger step, which is biomes. So first of all, we need to know what is biome. So actually, biome it's a group of similar ecosystem. So the large area, which characteristics by their climate and the type of plants and which found in that area is called biomes. So any biome is made of similar ecosystems. So in that lesson, inshallah, we're gonna just talk about the land biomes, which means the biomes which found on the land. We will not talk about the oceans or the water, okay, or the marine biome. Marine biomes that will be another lesson. But we just talk about the land biomes. That means the different parts of the land mass of the earth is divided into different biomes. The question is how we classify biomes or on what or based on what do we classify biomes? Actually, guys, we classify biomes into three main factors. Okay, these factors, which is first of all the amount of water that we receive per year, the amount of precipitations, okay, how much water each biome receive or an area receive, then the temperature, the average temperature or the range of temperature in which the climate vary in that area. And finally, okay, the type of dominant plants. What are the kind of plants that dominate that area? So these 3 points, they are the points which we classify biomes on. So that means if we have different biomes, that means they are different areas, they have different range of temperature, different amount of water they receive every year, so different kind of plants. So like this, we could say that climate, which means how the atmosphere or condition or the atmospheric condition in an area is. So here we find these atmospheric conditions, okay, they play an important role to determine what kinds of living organisms that could survive in a biome. Because regarding to the climate, which means the average temperature or the range of temperature and the amount of water precipitation, that will determine which kind of plants could grow in that area. And regarding to the type of plants, that will determine what kind of animals, okay, that could survive based on the plant they are gonna eat. So that's which make, okay, the diversity or the biodiversity in each biome differ, okay, than others. Some biomes have a high biodiversity, okay, which make these biomes highly stable and not easily to be disturbed. And some biomes actually they do not have this kind of biodiversity or they have a little biodiversity, which make them okay somehow easily distributed, something like this. So let's go through okay that. So we know what is biomes, and that's here. If you could look with me at this map, that represents okay the different continents and the Earth or the entire land mass of the Earth. So you could find there are a lot of biomes here. Actually, the land biomes could be classified just into 6 biomes or main 6 biomes, which is tundra, okay, coniferous rainforest, tropical rainforest, and temperate deciduous forest, which is the coniferous forest, also known as taiga, savanna, and the grassland desert. These the are main biomes. If you could look here, you're gonna find actually biomes somehow they found at the same latitude. Okay, that means this latitude. It means how much far from the equator they are. Okay, so the distance from the equator, because we know as we move away from the equator, temperature start to decrease. So like this, we are gonna find, for example, tundra they are found at the North Pole. Okay, then here we could find that the coniferous forest they beneath tundra, which means they are somehow also have a cool temperature and keep doing like this until we get the tropical rainforest, which found at the exactly at the equator. So here like this that you could find that this kind, for example, that desert, you could find that place and that place, they have the same environmental conditions, so they have the same ecosystems or similar ecosystems, so we consider them as a biome. Okay, also here you could find this is a tropical rainforest which found here in South America, and also here this is a tropical rainforest, they have the same environmental conditions. Okay, So also they consider to be the same biome. So like this, that's here how the distribution of biomes regarding to their latitude from the equator or their position. So let's start to talk about biomes in detail, or what are the different biomes, okay? So here we could find the first biome over which we're going to talk about, which is first, we're going to take a forest. We have different type first. We have tropical rainforest, we have deciduous forest, we have coniferous forest. So all the forest. Once we say the word first, the first thing come to your mind is hard trees or the long trees. Yes, that's good, because actually the main element in any forest is the higher trees. But do you think they are the same trees found in the different type of forest? Of course not. Because as they are different type of forests, of course they have different types of living organisms that could survive, including different type of trees. So here, let's start by the first kind of forest, the temperate, okay, deciduous forest. If we just, let's say here, this deciduous forest, they consider that, if we back again here, guys, just look, where could we find the deciduous forest, okay? So you could find that the deciduous forest, the green one, okay, this part, okay? So it's between the Tropicarium Forest and actually and the Coniferous Forest, okay, in the middle between them. So let's find, okay, what is come about this. Look with me carefully here, guys. The most characteristic or the most important thing to know that we're gonna find that the average yearly rainfall, the amount of rain that could be found or that it could receive, okay, is 75 to 125 centimeter, okay. So that means not that the entire amount of rain that represents the highest, or that we call that what the elevation, the height of the rain. If the rain accumulated over ground, it could reach 125 centimeter, okay, as a maximum amount. Of course, that's per year. So that means yearly, okay, it receives from 75 to 125 centimeter of water. That's represent a good amount of precipitation. That means water is available. And actually, this amount of rain is just distributed all over the year. That means most of the year there is raining, okay, or it's rainy most of the year. So water most of the time is available. Okay, and we could find that the average temperature in summer could reach 28 degrees Celsius, and in winter 6 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's also considered as somehow a good range of temperature that could support different living organisms, or many living organisms could live in that range of temperature. So as you can see here, if water is available and the temperature somehow is good, so that will allow a lot of living organisms to survive in that place. So you could find the most important thing, or the most feature, okay, present the disease first, that the plants are found in levels, okay, or that they could grow in levels. For example, you're gonna find on the land, okay, some the scattered places, or just not just a carpet or one part, no, just scattered places are covered by ferns and mosses, which are primitive form of plants, okay. These kind of plants, they grow, okay, in scattered places. These are the places which could receive the sunlight between the branches of the tree, okay. So the empty places that the tree branches not covered, okay, or not blocking the sunlight, allow mosses and ferns to grow. As also we could find that small flowering plants, the flowering plants, small flowering plants on the ground, they start to bloom before spring or early spring, before the trees grow new leaves and cover most of the sunlight. That's kind of adaptation to ensure the continuity of life, to produce flowers so they're able to reproduce and get seeds to ensure that making new generations. Also here you could find, as we have a lot of work and different, there is some shrubs, okay, or bushes, they could grow but from the sunlight that already passes between the branches of the plant, or the sunlight which is filtered by the plant branches or higher tree branches. That's enough to make some bushes to grow. So here we have just ground level plants, then a little higher plants, and finally we have, of course, the higher trees plants, okay. So here like this, the plants are growing on levels, okay. So this kind of higher trees, they are very high trees. They have leafy, okay, or wide leaves, okay, and they could absorb a lot of sunlight to make photosynthesis. As you can see here also in the picture, this kind of plants could support different forms of life. So we could find kinds of herbivores, okay, birds, insects, and some kinds of large mammals like beers, again, so like beers and so on. So like this, it's good environment, or it's somehow a stable biome because it has a good biodiversity, which ensure the continuity, okay, of that biome for a long time without disturbance. So that the first here, or that's the temperate disease first, that the first biome. The second biome, which we're going to talk about, which is Coniferous, okay, forest or taiga, okay. So here, actually, that's near to tundra. That means above the coniferous range. That's above the deciduous rainforest. So here, let's find what is special about this. Actually, what's special about this here? That the average rainfall that they could receive 35 to 75 centimeter per year. That means less water available compared to the deciduous rainforest. So that's mean, and the temperature, of course, is cooler because they are higher. They are near to the North Pole. Okay, so we could find that the average temperature in summer could be 14 degrees Celsius, while in winter could reach minus 10 degrees Celsius. So this range of temperature actually is not supportive or not good for most living organisms, but still some living organisms could live in that range of temperature. But we just could expect if water is not that much and the temperature or the temperature is not moderated like in the deciduous rainforest, so somehow the biodiversity will not be that large like in the deciduous rainforest. We still have biodiversity, which is good enough to continue or to stabilize the life in that biome, but still not that big biodiversity like in the deciduous rainforest. So as you can find here, what is special about this kind of forest that they are most of the trees in that place are coniferous trees. So what are coniferous plants or coniferous trees? Actually, they are kind of trees that grow their seeds inside a special structures known as cones, okay? Woody structure that keep the seeds in a state of fruits in normal trees. So that's why we call it coniferous, okay, for like pine tree, for example, okay. So here, what is special about these? Because here the water is not that much or is not available all the year, and also the temperature is not that good. The plant try to save, or this coniferous trees has some characteristics which enable it to save the water as much as it can. For example, we're gonna find they have a needle-shaped leaves instead of wide, broad leaves. Okay, that's to avoid large surface of losing water through transpiration process. Also, we're gonna find that the leaves is covered by a waxy layer known as cuticle, which also prevent losing a lot amount of water. So, like this, the plant trying to keep or try to hold the water as it can. Also, here we could find that these conifers, could keep their leaves, because of this waxy layer, which is considered as a barrier, That means in winter, once the temperature is too cold and the ice could just have form on these leaves. So this wax layer could work as a barrier, so it prevents the leaves to die or fall down. So that's why we call the evergreen trees, because even in winter, the leaves still survive because this thick waxy layer acts like a barrier that prevent the cold temperature or the ice from killing these leaves. So like this here, that's what's special about the trees which found in that place. This kind of place, also you could find there are some grass, they could grow, most of this grass is a needle-shaped grass, that could survive, on the ground, but we cannot find these different levels of plants as found in deciduous forest. This grass and this kind of trees, they could provide different forms of life, so we could find a lot of insects found in that place, some kind of birds and some kinds of herbivores like squirrels, deers, moles, so they could survive in that place. So like that, the second kind of forest, which the difference between the coniferous forest and the deciduous forest is different in the amount of the rain and temperature and the type of trees which could grow. Then let's pass to the third type, or the third biome, the third type of forest, which is the tropical rainforest. Yep, guys, here, tropical rainforest, as you can see from the picture, you could feel that it's a very rich, biome. As you can see, there are a lot of plants, a lot of species of living organisms could be found. So we say actually Tropicarium Forest is considered to have the largest biodiversity on land because marine is the largest biodiversity ever on Earth. But as we talk about land biomes, so Tropicarium Forest considered to be the largest biodiversity. You could find a lot of living organisms could live in that place. So actually, sometimes they said that most of the oxygen that just provided to the universe or to the earth, okay, atmosphere is produced from the photosynthesis of plants in tropical rainforest. Also, they consider or they provide most of the food resources for animals all over the world, okay. So that's mean here the tropical rainforest represent, okay, a rich biome. Also, each tree in this kind or in this biome represent a habitat for many species, okay? Because as we grow or as we move higher on that trees, we could find different types of insects, even different type of birds that they nest in higher different elevations on the trees. So it's very, very rich biome. What make it able to do or what make it, okay, have this kind of biodiversity? That's as you can see here, guys. The average amount of water they receive, or the amount, the average precipitation, it's about from 2 to 400 centimeters. Okay, which means about 2 to 4 meters of water each year. That's a lot of water. Okay, so this higher amount of water and the moderated temperature, because the average temperature, as you can see, or the range of temperature from 34 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius, which is a good range of temperature in which most living organisms could survive. So that is a very good conditions to allow a lot of living organisms to survive. So we could find different kinds of plants. Okay, so we could find a lot of, so woody veins climb the tree, okay, trying to reach sunlight. So that's me here. It's represent kind of relationship between plants. So actually here plants in tropical rainforest they have a kind of competition as there are different levels of plants. Higher trees they grow very high, which form something called the canopy or the green roof. So the green roof, okay, which means the branches of the higher trees they start to overlap each other, blocking the sunlight and providing shade for animals beneath it. Okay, so the short trees they suffer from, okay, a shortage of sunlight because the higher trees somehow block it, but still the temperature and sunlight which is available enough to grow different kinds of plants as you can see in the picture. With this variety of plants that could grow in the tropical rainforest, it's provide a lot of food resources for many species of plants. So we can find different kinds of insects, birds, herbivores, carnivores, okay, different kind of living organisms they could find there. So like this guys here that the three types of forest or the three types of biomes, okay. So next time inshallah we're going to talk about the other biomes, so study this part very well from your textbook, and if you have any question you are welcome anytime. Thank you guys and goodbye.